discuss the story of Eklavya, which I think is a very, very well-known story, but highly misrepresented as far as the story, as far as understanding is concerned. Dronacharya had started tutoring his pupils or his disciples, 105 in numbers, at his Gurukul, which he had taken over from his father. And while he was teaching all the children the various subjects, etc., one day a Nishad prince came over, young from the forest, and very humbly he stood before the great Guru and said, I am the prince of the Nishad who dwells in this forest here, and may it please the great Guru to take him as disciple also, since he was also interested in learning archery. Now, this Nishad prince, normally we will assume Nishad prince to be one of the forest dwellers. He said he was one of the forest dwellers who lived there, and a Nishad prince. So, but Nishad does not mean a forest dweller. Nishad is from night, and Nishad prince means one who can see in the night very clearly, as if it's not dark at all. One who knows the truth. And in fact, there's a little incident which is recorded in which Gurmai Chidvilasinda in her book Kindle My Heart, she recorded that incident. She says when they were still nuns. Today, of course, Gurmai is now the head of her order, and she's the head of her establishment since 1982. But somewhere around 1980-81, one day when she had not yet taken over the head from her guru, Swami Muktanand, she was sharing a room in the ashram with another nun. These two girls, two nuns, used to stay in one room. And as per all the ashram, it used to be lights out at 9 o'clock, at 9 p.m. And of course, because their day would start very early in the morning at Brahm Muhurt, which would be about 3 p.m. So from 9 to 3, the lights used to be off. And one day, when she was in bed, she saw that her roommate, the other nun, she was still, settling down in her bed. Since it was past 9 o'clock, she gently told her roommate that when you're ready to go to bed, kindly switch off the light. Her roommate replied, but I've already switched off the lights. It's all dark. He says, no, I can still see everything. You have not switched off the light. Then there's a little bit confusion. He says, no, I've switched off the light. It's pitch dark. I can't see anything. And here was Gurmai, who says I could see anything. That was the time when she had become the light. She had not just acquired light, she had become the light herself. She knew everything instantaneously, and she could see what normal people cannot see in the dark absolutely, very, very clearly. That is what is the meaning of Nishad Prince. So when that Nishad Prince, when he went there to Dronacharya and said, may it please the great Guru to take me as a disciple, Dronacharya looked at this prince, this forest dweller, this boy who had come from the forest, looked at him, and immediately he could make out that he is already a very realized soul, and like he has himself mentioned that he was a Nishad prince. So then Dronacharya told him, the knowledge I have got is for the Kshatriya princes only, and it will be of no use to you, to a Nishad prince. So there's no point in my teaching you or taking me as my disciple, and hence I regret I will not be accepting you. I will be unable to accept you as a student in my class. Now, it's like this, where all the people are at different levels on the spiritual field. Some are at very high level, some are at a lower level. The Nishad Prince was already a realized being. He didn't have to do all these things, which was very elementary. And what he was teaching all the princes was very, very elementary in comparison. It's like this, and I'm very fond of quoting this story. Once a little boy who was about 4 years old was playing outside his house, and His mother called him. He said, whatever his name was, Tom or name or something, come on, come get into the house. It's already dark and it's way past your playing time. It's time to go to bed. So the boy came over. He's a good boy, little boy, 4 years old. Came over, but he wanted to play a little more. So he said, Mama, why is it that during the day it is so bright and sunny, the sky is so bright and sunny and bright, whereas at night it becomes so dark and all this, I can see even the stars. So the mother replied, you see, the sun is the one that gives light. It comes out every morning and goes to bed at night. So during the day when the sun is there, everything is very bright and you can see. But when the sun goes to bed at night, then you cannot see, it becomes very dark. So the child was very happy with that answer, was satisfied with that answer, and went to bed. When he grew up, by the time he was in the 8th or 9th standard, he asked his teacher the same question. This time, the teacher replied, you see, the earth is surrounded by an atmosphere, and in the atmosphere, you've got a lot of dust particles. These dust particles scatter light when the sun is out and the sun passes through the atmosphere. The dust particles scatter light, and so the entire sky is lit up. Had the atmosphere not been there, there would be no dust particles to scatter the light. You would still see the sun as a bright disk, but if beside them, uh, the sky would be quite dark, and you'd be seeing stars even during the daytime. So he kept quiet. Then, when he grew up still further, by the time he came to the graduate level, again he asked his professor this time the same question. The professor this time replied that this universe is expanding. Because of this expansion, the universe is dark. The whole sky is dark. Had the universe not been expanding, had the universe been static, then the whole sky, whether it's day or night, would have been extremely bright, much brighter than what it is today, maybe 16 to 20 times brighter. But the night sky would also be equally bright, and the day sky would also be equally bright. Now, the question was the same, but the answers were different depending upon what level the student was. The same thing was in case of Eklavya. When Eklavya said that he wanted to join, he wanted Guru Dronacharya to take him as a student. So Guru Dronacharya said, there's no point in my taking you because the knowledge I have is at a very low level. It's almost like a primary level, whereas your knowledge is, you are already you're an enlightened soul, you know the truth, and you don't require this kind of knowledge. And anyway, the, the Eklavya was a little disappointed because he was very keen on learning archery. And then he said, okay, he went away, didn't complain or say anything. He was a very humble boy. And on his own, he went into the forest, built a clay statue of his guru and started worshipping the statue. Now, actually, when you start worshipping a statue, when we go there to the temples, you see in all our Hindu temples, you'll find a statue of some Ram or Krishna or anybody, so many other Vishnu or so many other gods are there. And who do we worship there? It is not that we worship the god itself. We worship the divine, or in that clay or stone statue. We worship the divinity which is present in that statue. It may be clay, or it may be or any marble, or it may be stone or whatever. So it is that the divinity which is present uh, in the form which we worship. That is what Eklavya was doing. Eklavya had built a statue of his guru, and he had so much faith in his guru that that when the guru, although when the guru declined to take him directly as his disciple, he built a statue and started worshipping it. Because of his faith, the statue itself became alive, and would fulfill all his desires. Now, he continued to practice in front of the statue, and very soon, very very quickly, he could master all the skills that were required by an archer. One day it happened that a dog who chanced to be there, saw Eklavya and started barking and was disturbing this Eklavya. Eklavya very quickly he took out from his bow, from his quiver, an arrow and shot the dog. And as it turned and ran, he shot six more arrows, and with seven arrows, he shut the mouth of the, or rather sealed the mouth of the dog in such a way that he was not hurt, but the mouth was sealed. He couldn't bark any further. Now, this is again, all these things are a little bit metaphors. Now, the dog is an unclean animal. It represents uncleanliness, or one who is dirty. Dirty means that the creature has got all these seven. Not that the dog per se has these seven, that animal, but in this story, it is representative, and the dog represents the seven traits which we have in ourselves. Because remember, all this thing is happening within us. What are the seven traits? The seven traits are the same which Ganga had cleaned had by you know anger, then comes greed, hatred, envy, vanity, and one more, selfishness. So all these seven traits, they are the base, very for a spiritual person. It pulls one down very considerably. In Eklavya, by shooting down uh, these by shooting these seven arrows, it means that he had silenced a dog. All the seven traits which are present within him, it conquered them all and silenced them. He was no longer unclean. He was an absolutely clean person. Now the dog who was barking at this, he turned back and ran back to the Kuru princes, because the dog belonged to the Kuru princes, that 105 of them. When Arjun saw this, uh, the dog in such a manner that his lips had been sealed, but the dog was not harmed in any way, he immediately realized that he didn't have the skill. Now, Dronacharya, earlier, I didn't tell about that story, but anyway, earlier, what Dronacharya, when he was teaching all these princes, one day he had a practice, he gave them all a test, and he said, I'm going to ask you to perform a test and let me check how far you proceeded. So he went and placed a model of a bird on the tree, and then he invited Yudhishthir, who was the eldest of the lot, and he said, I want you to shoot that bird down. He said, no problem, I'll take it. He said, all right, first of all, you take an arrow and put it in your bow. So he did as told by his guru, and while he was taking his aim, the guru asked him, what do you see there? He said, well, I see the bird. What else do you see? I can see the tree, the whole tree. Can you see something else? Yes, I can see everything. I can see the uh, lots of fruits upon the tree. He said, okay, it's enough. You can go now. Then he called Duryodhan. Duryodhan came over, and he was also asked to take a bow and arrow and take an aim in order to shoot down the bird. Duryodhan came. Guru Dronacharya asked him the same thing. What do you see there? He said, I can see the bird very clearly. He said, okay, what else can you see? I can see the tree. What else? I can see all the fruits around. Oh, can you see something else? He said, yes, I can see the nest of the bird too, which is close by. He said, okay, that's all, you can go. Then he called Bhim. Bhim also came over. He was asked the same question. Bhim replied the same thing, and he was not to be outdone. So he said, not only do I see the tree, I can see the fruits upon the tree, I can see the nest, and I can see so many other things on the ground also. Then he told him, okay, you run away now. Let some Arjun come there. When Arjun came there, he said, what do you see there? I see the head of that bird. He said, okay, head of the bird you see, but also what else can you see? Can you see the whole bird? He said, no, I can't see the whole bird. I can see only the head of the bird. What about the trees, etc.? He says, I can't see anything. I can see only the head of the bird. It's all right, shoot. So the Arjun shot that arrow, and and sure enough, he managed to sever the head of the bird, which came crashing down. Then he collected all of them and told the these people that look, uh, all of you, if you want to succeed in life, then you have to be exceedingly focused. None of you are focused, unless, except Arjun. As you can see, when you are trying to aim also, you could not only see the bird, you could see the trees and such a big, and all the other details. Now, with this kind of focus, you'll never be able to achieve anything in life, and certainly not in skill. You have to be exceedingly focused, then only it will matter. You'll be able to be successful. Then he told Arjun, Arjun, one day, you not only one day, you are the best archer that is there, and one day you'll become the best in the whole world. Now, with this in mind, all the time he had this that he is going to be the best. He is already the best because he could compare only with the 105 cousins and brothers who were there with him. But he was there. He was the best of the lot as an archer. But the Guru had told him, one day you'll be the best in the world. Now, when Eklavya came over and Arjun saw that dog, he immediately realized that this archer was certainly superior to him. And whatever the Guru may have said, that one day he'll be better. As of now, he was certainly no match for this this archer, whoever he was. They had not yet seen who he was. Then with that, he went to, with the dog, he went to his Guru, Dronacharya, Arjun, and in fact, all the other five brothers and a few Duryodhan and a few others also, because the dog belongs to the Guru family, the king's palace. And then they all went there and recited and told the Guru, the Dronacharya, what they had seen of the dog and what had happened. Dronacharya was very curious. They said, okay, let's go and see who is this archer. So along with that, along with all the princes and his son, Dronacharya's son Ashwatthama, they all went to the site, and there they saw that there was this Bhil boy, or rather this Nishad boy, who was practicing in front of his statue. When Eklavya, saw his guru there, he was very happy, and he expressed his gratitude. He said, I'm exceedingly delighted and grateful that my Guru himself has come in this form today, and I'm consider it my big blessing. Then he went and touched down the feet of the Guru. And now this is, of course, what is the meaning of all this thing? Eklavya means this moment. Ek means one, love means moment. Eklavya, one moment. One moment is the only moment, that is the present moment. And this present moment is the truth. The past is already gone. The future is not yet there. And so the present moment is the only truth. Eklavya was truth. He was a Nishad prince. He already knew what the night was, that he could see in the dark, and the entire truth was already known to him. He was trying to become an archer, or trying to become an archer. This Dronacharya had told him that the knowledge which I have got is only suitable for the Kshatriya princes. Kshatriya princes, Kshatriya means one who undertakes only good tasks, who does a good job with his hand. Basically, it is the path of Karma Yoga. the path of action, how to perform action, what manner you have to perform, what kind of action, etc., etc., is there. In that, for a Kshatri, the action that has to be performed has to be without the trace of selfishness in it. It should be for the benefit and good of the entire community. And in fact, it should be for the benefit of the entire, not just community, but the humankind at large. That's number one. Number two, there should be no trace of doership, which means that I have done it, or I'm such a good archer, or oh, none can do better than me. He should not take over the ownership, and he should that ownership he should feel that it is God who is working through him, and that's why he's able to achieve whatever. That the moment you take a doership, it transfers into karma. Now, the third thing which is there is that whenever you undertake a Kshatriya, when he undertakes a job, he does it wholeheartedly, with 100% concentration, 100% focus, and 100% uh, giving it all that he has got. Arjun used to do that. And finally, the fourth thing that is important was that while you're doing all these things, now every time you undertake any act, there is some object. You start with an object. Okay, I have to go and serve these 100 people, or I have to build a hospital, or I have to do something. To begin with, you have a certain goal. Now, a lot of people will expect that I've started a work, and it should go as per whatever I want. It should go as per whatever I planned. Now, while that is okay, only thing is you have to remember that while you can perform the act or do the job, the result may not be as per your expectation. So you should not be worried about the expectation. As long as you've done a good job, you put in 100% of your this thing, you're not claiming any attachment, you're not attached to this result, or you're not attached to the doership also. That kind of action is really the proper action for Kshatriya. And this is what Dronacharya was teaching all these students. When Eklavya went and Eklavya, since he was already a Nishad prince, for him, learning all these things was child's play. He could very, very quickly uh, achieve that level, which Arjun had still not achieved. When Dronacharya went and to Eklavya, Eklavya said that I'm indeed honored by the arrival of my guru, and he bent down and touched his feet. Now, touching of the feet of a guru is symbolic. The guru is the all-knowing, a form of the absolute of the Lord. The guru's head is high somewhere in the sky, which bears all the knowledge, is high somewhere in the sky, beyond the cloud, beyond the reach of human being. But Guru, out of compassion for us, has planted his feet on the ground so that we can touch his feet and take his blessing. Now, when you touch his feet, you tell the Guru that I approach you in all humility and seek your blessing so that I may succeed in whatever I've set out. That is it's a prayer also, and it's not a show, but you approach the Guru in all humility, humbleness. That is your ability there. So this is what when Eklavya went and touched his feet, Dronacharya said, "Yes, I acknowledge you now as my guru, as my disciple." Recall that in the beginning, when Eklavya had gone to ask him to enroll him as a student, Dronacharya first said, "Sorry, he would not be able to do that because whatever knowledge is going to impart upon these boys was very elementary, and you're already far advanced." Now, an advanced student, if it's like this, if a graduate starts studying in class 5, he'll pick up very, very quickly everything. That was the case with Eklavya. Very quickly on his own, he had picked up all the knowledge that these 105 princes were struggling with. But he had become very proficient in it. Now, Dronacharya knew his own limitations. Although he was a great guru, he knew his own limitations. And his limitation was that he could not he could teach only up to the Kshatriya level. Beyond that, he could not teach. Now, on the actually Kshatriya level means that the archery required the use of the thumb, and Guru and but his Eklavya, he has seen that he had already reached that level where he could, with the use of his thumb, he could immediately shoot whatever he wanted, much better than Arjun. But Guru, as a great Guru, he also realized that the thumb would prevent him from going further, from rising further in his field of archery also. So he told his Guru and told this Eklavya that I acknowledge you as my disciple, and I see that you already acquired all the knowledge. You don't need to acquire any further. Now it's time for you to give me the Guru Dakshina. So Eklavya said, yes, my master, you tell me what is the Guru Dakshina that you want, and I'll offer it immediately. So he said, I just want your right hand thumb as Guru Dakshina. Right hand thumb, this Eklavya, the moment Dronacharya said this, he immediately took out his hunting knife, cut off his thumb from the right hand, and placed it on Dronacharya's feet. And he said, here is my Guru Dakshina. What is Guru Dakshina? Maybe I'll perhaps come to that just in a short while. Now, this was also symbolic. These are all metaphors. Now, like I said, that Dronacharya knew his own limitations, and his limitations was that he could teach people, children, only up to the level of a Kshatri. And Kshatri means karma yogi, and how to carry out a proper act which would not involve karma, which will be dharmic act, not involving karma. It symbolically, it also means that see, we've got a thumb and 4 fingers. These 4 fingers represent the disciple, and the thumb which stands apart represents the Guru. This open palm also represents duality. Duality where the thumb is the God and the 4 fingers are all the people, the rest of the mankind. Dronacharya, he said, cut off this thumb. Cut off this thumb like this. When you close your fist, then the thumb can't be seen. The thumb is cut off. This means unity. This represents duality. In unity, the thumb and the fingers are not there. They're all in one. So Dronacharya was trying to tell him that you don't need a guru now. You have to move from the form to formless, and you have to move from duality to unity, which means your knowledge is now, even on this path, you have to progress, but that progress will come when you remove the guru. Eklavya, like I said, his name was Eklavya, one moment. His one moment is the truth. One moment is the present moment, the only moment that is true. So he was the truth personified. And immediately he understood what his guru was telling. And he had no regrets. He just cut off his thumb. And progress, he removed his guru, or rather the physical guru. The guru was now within him. He himself was the guru, which realization dawned upon him. And which in the very beginning itself, Dronacharya had said that you don't need this knowledge, you're way above, you're already Nishad Prince. All this knowledge is already there with you. Now, once his thumb had been cut off, Ashwatthama, Guru Dronacharya's son, also used to be taught along with all the 105 princes. He had accompanied these princes and Dronacharya's father to the site. When this boy, Ashwatthama, heard his father's demand of his thumb, then he started wondering, could it be that my father wants to favor Arjun and that is why he has removed the sum so that Eklavya is no longer a competitor. But that was not the case. He had his doubt. So when all these princes returned back to the palace, and Ashwatthama had gone home along with his father, everything was quiet, Ashwatthama asked him, "Father, why did you ask Eklavya for such a Guru Dakshina, which in my opinion was very, very mean thing to do, and it was not right?" Dronacharya looked at him. His son was also at the same level as far as knowledge and teaching this was concerned as the other princes. And so he flippantly replied that Eklavya had stolen his knowledge. Guru Dronacharya had refused to teach him anything, but by building a statue, he had de facto stolen his knowledge. And because he had stolen his knowledge, he had to pay for the crime that he had done. And that's why he asked him for the some as a punishment. Now, this Ashwatthama was actually an ignorant fellow, just like all the other princes. They were all ignorant people, but not Eklavya. Eklavya immediately, when he told him, he just cut off his thumb and gave it to him. But Ashwatthama plus the other princes were ignorant. They couldn't understand what it is. And Dronacharya couldn't tell them all the truth because it will it will go above their head. But so with that, although he was quietened down, he just kept quiet. But a lingering doubt always remained in Ashwatthama's mind that maybe his father had been very unkind to Arjun, and by removing his competitor, favored Arjun also. But that was not so, because as I had explained, Eklavya was at a very higher plane. Ashwatthama was at a very low level, and excuse me. So Ashwatthama and the princess, they all had come back. That